Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Southern Illinois Pigskin Picks. I'm Scott Meese, along with Les Winkler, and here we are in Week 4. Les, what do you think about what's going on so far? We're starting to get a little bit of a feel for, who's the real deal, maybe who's got some work to do.
Yeah, we are, but it's still kind of a topsy-turvy world out there. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. We're getting into conference play this week, and that's where the rubber really meets the road because our area teams have been going outside the area to play teams, and you're not sure the relative strength of those people. So now they're going to be the local teams are going to be knocking heads with each other. So things will start sifting out to see just exactly where we are.
Yeah, we'll start with a couple of South 7 games. We've got Marion. They're 2-1. They travel to Cahokia. The Comanches haven't won a game yet. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's an interesting game. I think Marion's going to win. Cahokia is 0-3. They've struggled. On the other hand, they've played some excellent competition. Coach Galladay made no bones about it early in the year when there was talk about Cahokia losing its athletic program, that some kids transferred out, and that they were going to be a lesser team than they have been in recent years. I'm kind of surprised at 0-3, but the way things are going, and Marion has, they struggled to beat a smaller Harrisburg last week, so I'm picking Marion, but I'm kind of got my fingers crossed, and I'm going to be right on that.
I'm going to pick Marion too. Boy, they've had to come back in the fourth quarter in both of their wins, Week 2 and Week 3. So, they obviously haven't gotten rolling yet because, they've really had to dig out of a hole. But, Cahokia is just, maybe they don't have quite the number of athletes that they normally do. So, I'll go with Marion. The two undefeated teams, Carbondale 3-0 at Centralia 3-0. Obviously Colleen's a great coach. They lost quite a bit of talent last year, but they've gotten off to a good start. What are your thoughts on the Terriers and the Orphans?
I haven't seen Centralia. I have seen Carbondale. I sure liked what I saw of Carbondale. Nick Hill's got them playing hard. They've got some great athletes. Hoffman can flat throw the ball. He's got some kids can catch it. They got a bit of a running game. Just based on what Centralia lost last year and the one time of seeing Carbondale play, I'm going to go with the Terriers.
I'm going to go with Carbondale, but, they can't turn the ball over 5 times or whatever it was in Week 3 and expect to beat a pretty good Centralia team. But I think the Terriers just have too much offense right now. Moving on to the Black Diamond Conference, the big game of the week, Carmi is 2-1 at Chester 3-0. What are your thoughts on this one, Les?
Saw Carmi play against El Dorado, and El Dorado is a very good football team. I think El Dorado could make some noise in 2A this year. They're a big, strong team. El Dorado kind of pushed Carmi around. Carmi never really could get anything sustained offensively. Chester's still riding that roll from last year. They're 3-0, and they could. They're going to be right there at the end of the year for the conference title and playing at Chester. I've got to go with Chester.
Yeah, I'll take the Yellow Jackets. Although Carmi's only allowed, I think, total of maybe 38 points in 3 games, so they're still a pretty good football team. And of course, when you've got a player as good as Saylor is, who can change a game, he could take off and run several of them along the way. But I think Chester will be too much.
Saylor's a very good defensive player too. That's something people overlook. He's against El Dorado's got some big, strong running backs, and there were some 8A quality collisions in that game. So
the river to river Mississippi, what was, I guess, probably before the season looked at as a pretty good matchup. Well, it looks a little like a mismatch right now just because DuQuoin at 0-3 is struggling at Carterville 3-0. Your thoughts on this?
Carterville's a very nice football team, and I saw DuQuoin play against Highland, and they were totally outmanned against Highland. It exposed every weakness. That game exposed every weakness DuQuoin has. They're young, they're not that big, and they don't have the speed that they've had in past years, and you had 1-1-1-1-1, and that's a Carterville win.
Highland's really, really good. They'd beat everybody in that conference, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Carterville's obviously having a great year so far. I picked them. DuQuoin will be interesting to see what they come up with in the coming weeks. They've only scored, I believe, 7 points the entire season. So obviously that's an area of concern. But I think they can make it a pretty good game if they can force some turnovers. Our last game is Massac County. They're 1-2. The Ohio Division taking on Murfreesboro at Murphy. They're also 1-2. Massac lost last week at Anna Jonesboro. Murfreesboro picked up a win over Sparta, their first of the season. What do you think about this one, Les?
Massac is kind of interesting. I expect them to beat Freeburg the first week. I expected them to lose to Charleston the second week, and they totally reversed that. And then they lost what proved what everyone thought would be a tough game at Anna Jonesboro. So I don't know. It's kind of difficult to call. Based on Massac's pretty impressive showing at Charleston, I'm going to go with the Patriots, but I'm just flipping a coin on it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Murphy, and I'm not comfortable with it either. I think it's a toss-up for sure. Massac does have a pretty good offense. I know we know that much, and I just think it's one of those that, if they played it 5 times, somebody probably win 3 and somebody probably win 2, depending on where it was at. But I'll go with the Red Devils. Overall thoughts now, from what you've seen so far, is El Dorado, at least for that level, the most impressive team you've seen so far?
Of the teams I've seen, yeah. They're a very solid 2A team. They've got a big line, and they're not a real fast team, but they have good overall quickness. They hit pretty well, and they just in the past couple of years, El Dorado has had a penchant to self-destruct by taking bad penalties, and they showed no sign of that so far this year. If they can keep that going and stay healthy, I think it could be an interesting. They could have an interesting postseason run.
Yeah, I've been real impressed with in 5A Carbondale's offense for sure, but they were 3-0 last year as well. So now we'll get to see how good they really are now that they're in South 7 playing. I think the South 7 might be a little bit down this year too. I mean, Mount Vernon is much improved, but I mean Centralia can't possibly be as good as last year's team, I don't think. And Althoff is a little bit down. Cahokia is down. Marion is 2-1, but I'd say it's a bit of a shaky 2-1 so far.
I think looking right now, you look 6 weeks out, and I think Carbondale would have to be disappointed. The way they're playing right now, they would have to be disappointed with anything less than 7-2 at the end of the regular season. So that's based on watching one game. So, but they did look good last week.
You haven't watched the film or the videos of all their games?
It's on my shelf, and I just haven't got to it yet.
All right. Thanks for watching, and join us back here next week for our Week 5 picks.